What really sparks that creative fire, And
Mm,
what unique ways do artists see the world?
That's a great question.
Today on the deep dive, we're really getting into the world of Bob Camblin. He was an artist, an educator.
Right. And left behind this amazing collection of writings, quotes, reflections on art, life, the whole human condition, really.
Exactly. We've got stuff from a retrospective, loads of his personal quotes, historical context too.
So the plan is,
Our mission, let's say, is to kind of pull out the key insights from Camblin's unique perspective, give you a shortcut to understanding this really original mind.
okay, sounds good. Where should we start? Maybe his professional life. There was that big change in 61
Yes, summer of 61, he resigned from the University of Illinois at Urbana.
and moved to the University of Detroit Mercy. What's going on there?
Well, it wasn't just changing jobs, it was timing. Bruno Leon, he'd just become head of architecture there, and Leon had just set up this independent 6-year architecture program, totally autonomous.
Right, that's significant.
And Camblin was one of the very first faculty hired to teach first-year design and drawing. He stayed till 65.
So right in the beginning of this new venture.
Totally. And Leon, he clearly had big plans. He became dean later in 64. And get this, Buckminster Fuller took over as chair in 71.
Wow. Okay, so Detroit Mercy was really positioning itself as a center for innovative thinking then.
Seems like it. Definitely a dynamic environment for someone like Camblin.
And didn't Leon offer the Camblin family a place to live, one of his designs?
He did, yeah, in Grosse Isle Township. And they took him up on it.
That suggests a pretty close connection, doesn't it? Maybe a shared philosophy about, I don't know, art and living.
Could be. It certainly paints a picture of a supportive, intellectually stimulating place to be.
And he wasn't just teaching, right? He was exhibiting too.
Oh, yeah. 1961, he had 3 exhibitions, Oklahoma State University.
Oh, Stillwater, okay.
The 9th National Sarasota Art Association exhibition in Florida, he actually won a prize there.
A prize, nice. And the third.
Southwestern College, Winfield, Kansas. That was in the fall.
So, geographically diverse.
Yeah,
Getting his work out there.
definitely.
Yeah.
Suggests his art was starting to get noticed more widely.
In that Kansas exhibition, there was some commentary on it.
Yeah, in the college yearbook, The Mound Builders, from 61, they talked about this fireplace room exhibit featuring 3 young modern artists.
And they mentioned Camblin specifically.
They did. They said studying paintings like his Termagant Transfigured, that was the title, resulted in varied expressions.
Varied expressions, even back then. That suggests his work wasn't just straightforward representation, maybe. It made people think, react differently.
Yeah, exactly. Like it had this quality that sparks something individual in the viewer.
Which is a perfect lead-in to his own words, his personal thoughts and philosophies.
Yeah.
Because they're often quite poetic, aren't they?
Incredibly so. Almost like little fragments of thought. Take this one. Fortunately, some things remain forever, or another 10 years, perhaps.
Huh. Yeah, that's brilliant. That tension between wanting permanence and knowing things change.
It feels very modern, that kind of anxiety about how long anything really lasts.
It does. Maybe his art was a way to try and capture something enduring, even while knowing it might just be for, well, 10 years.
And then there's this observation about nature, so simple. 3 cottonwood trees, dense cluster of new branches, now with them gone. Look.
Look, it's about seeing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Seeing what's not there anymore. Loss sharpening your focus.
Right. That sense of absence, it comes up again, like in that quote about music and memory.
Oh, yeah, that one's powerful. Let me see. As they approached, the memory of songs and music stopped. Stopped at the moment the texture of its decay became visible to them.
Chilling, almost.
Sad how we all aged at that moment in time. Saltaire Summer, 1967. It connects sensory experience, memory, and this sudden shared awareness of time passing, of aging.
It's so evocative, and he connects things you wouldn't expect to, like science and magic.
Ah, that one. Look into the atom, you get what you need. Look into magic, and you get what you need. Philosophy and art are in both.
It's like he saw them all as just different ways to get at the truth, you know?
A very holistic view. Not separate boxes, but different paths up the same mountain, maybe. Finding insights in the tiniest particle and the most intangible idea.
And this theme of balance seems crucial. He talks about embracing the perfectly average view.
Which sounds negative, but isn't.
No. He wants to enjoy miracles on both sides of science and magic, and the nuances of the smear between the whiteness and the blackness, aiming for an intensely bright gray.
So, not mediocrity, but appreciating the richness between the extremes, the ambiguity. That intensely bright gray is a great image.
And he's very direct about intuition. The sixth sense is to be, without a doubt, senza dubio.
Senza dubio, no doubt. That's strong. Not just a hunch, but real certainty for him. Trusting the gut.
Then you get these flashes of raw feeling. Bright day and I soar. How cruel that my soul's attached to this earth, and yet.
Oh, wow. That hits home, doesn't it? That universal pull between wanting to fly free and being, well, stuck here. The beauty and the limitation all at once.
And his honesty with himself. I cannot tell a lie to myself for very long.
Followed by that idea of finding completion in nature.
Find something in nature that completes you and then surrender. Like accepting limitations and finding peace by connecting to something bigger.
Letting go, yeah. There's a real sense of integrity there.
This next one feels like a core statement. The light is all you need. The end is to evolve by doing the best you can.
Okay.
The means is to amplify what you're doing and believe in the balance, patience, and yet freedom again. And yet, in silence, the reality can be maintained.
So much packed in there. Evolution, effort, belief, balance, patience, freedom.
And then this twist. In the reality, the pain that I move away from, true love moves to indifference, to protect itself.
Whoa, indifference, protecting love.
Yeah.
What's the light? Inspiration. Knowledge.
Could be anything, right? But it fuels this whole dynamic process of growth and finding balance, even navigating pain and love. It's really dense.
And he loves paradoxes, doesn't he? Sublime in the ridiculous. Look for the forgotten, but become what you are. Less only is.
Yeah. Find beauty where you don't expect it. Look at what's overlooked and find your true self by stripping things away, getting down to essentials. Less only is.
Challenging conventional ideas of what's valuable, what's beautiful. Find the sublime and the, well, the ridiculous.
And his idea of art evolved, too. Art is not just images, he says.
All right, moving beyond just pictures.
Art for art's sake has become art for life's sake, or art for my sake, or art for survival's sake.
That feels significant. Art not just as an aesthetic thing, but something deeply tied to living, surviving even. Maybe reflecting how society was changing too.
Could be. Art needing to do more, be more relevant to actual life.
And he urges us to break free from rigid thinking. Step off the train of thought.
Love that image.
To find the power that is no power. To do the work that is not work. To laugh the true laugh. Bending is not bowing. Balancing and being for and against.
It's like finding a more intuitive, effortless way, not forcing things.
We miss the clouds. And for a moment regretted it, then as lightning, the mind ripped out in flashes of variations to reach the still pond.
Wow. So disrupting your normal thought pattern leads to these sudden insights, this clarity, like lightning reaching a still pond.
Seems like it. Breaking free allows for those unexpected connections.
And he has advice on thinking versus acting. Argue, bark, talk, purr, zoom, sing. When you think, don't act. When you act, don't think.
Keep them separate. For clarity?
Maybe. And then this anecdote. We talked of changing the world. He listened, then took 21 cents from his coin purse to pay for his coffee and left.
That grounds it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Big ideas versus, paying for coffee.
Yeah.
The gap between talk and action.
Exactly. And his connection to nature is so visceral, like this. The cosmos waves as me with tree leaves, sun-heated air moves across the electrons of my skin.
You could almost feel that.
Sunlight reflects those greens, first white, then yellow-green, and in deep shadows blue. It's like he's plugged directly into it.
Total immersion in the sensory details, like the universe itself is communicating with him.
He even sees nature as a performance. On the tower we set, facing the clouds, Act 1, the White Mountains, Act 2, the Cold Wind, Act 3, the lightning.
Nature is drama.
We leave before the show is over.
Interesting. Appreciating the moment, not needing the full story.
Maybe. And sometimes it's just simple. The rain-soaked willows brought me to my senses, just that grounding effect.
That immediate physical connection bringing you back to yourself.
And how about the subtlety? He walked by so slow that my writing slowed, my heart, and also the wind.
Wow. Everything connected. Even the pace of a passerby affects his whole being, even the wind. Incredible sensitivity.
He hints at deeper things, too. There is one joy that exceeds all other, and that's all I'll say.
Leaving you wondering. Something beyond words.
Possibly. And then sensory details again. Not a leaf moves, and yet we all feel the cool breeze.
Those subtle perceptions.
Contrasted with, much better than arguing is to look at my watercolor palette.
A preference for quiet contemplation over conflict? Many artists might relate to that.
And his playful take on perception. White is light. Black is absence of light. But people are seen.
Okay, basic physics.
Well, that's enough about me, Mother Nature. Let's talk about you. What did you think of my last picture?
I love that. Shifting from science to this whimsical chat with nature itself. Self-aware, funny.
He even captures those rapid-fire thoughts. 5 thoughts crashed at South Blean and Mendel. 1. A girl in a white dress. 2. Jomo board. 3. Mother Nature. 4. Painting a classroom in the ghetto. 5. Haiku. No one was injured.
Like a mental snapshot of that inner chaos. The no one was injured is darkly funny. Just the brain doing its thing.
And his advice on arguing. When you end an argument with a pessimist, you say you're absolutely right. With an optimist, you say it's a banana.
Huh. Recognizing you can't really change those viewpoints, it's futile.
And then he asks, as people move away from us, do they diminish in our eyes, or mind, or relativity? Makes you think about how distance changes perception.
Subjectivity, yeah. Physical or emotional distance.
This is relatable too. My attempts to stop arguing created an argument.
Oh, definitely. The paradox of trying to force peace.
And the difference between learning and communicating. If you argue or if you agree, you may learn, but you do not communicate.
So true communication needs something more than just debate or agreement. Understanding, maybe?
Could be. He uses this metaphor for searching. The gate stays open, the fence is broken, he keeps searching but does not know the size of his quarry.
So access is there, boundaries are down, but the goal is unclear.
Yet he has faith. He looks in all directions, if he could only see all around all at once. It's about needing that holistic vision, even with faith.
Looking, but not truly seeing the whole picture. Powerful image.
He also thinks about change. Revolution leads to changes. Evolution is change.
Distinguishing superficial change from real transformation.
The first will be man's misunderstanding. The second is understanding. The balance will be found in our minds. Individually now, perhaps collectively later.
That's hopeful. Balance found through understanding, spreading for individuals outward.
And then that old saying, you never miss the water until the wells run dry. A reminder to appreciate what we have.
Absolutely. Now those haiku-like fragments, there are so many.
Right, little snapshots. 6 starlings sitting among broken branches. Look, no buds are growing, or every day the clouds circle our tower as if we again were the intruders.
Capturing these tiny moments. Poor fish, trapped by the changing tides, so much like us. A flash of empathy.
It wouldn't be too bad to come back as a fly if you knew your body would shine in the sun that way. Finding beauty everywhere.
Darning needles sew shimmer-lined tapestries of blue, green, and white bands.
Dragonflies, maybe?
Could be. Bleach, textured in white, to taste in sight. Pray ever avoid the lamp fate. Moth, seashell, open to interpretation. Canvas rectangle, summer light calligraphy. Mystic and complete, questioning his own work.
Eater of Christians, chimera, Byzantium, warm, cold, children's chair, San Gimignano. Calamari to oblivion, like flashes of travel, history, food.